the violence in Syria. Ammar joins me now. He's the Executive Director of the Omran Centre for Strategic Studies. That's a think tank based here in Istanbul. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you,
Good
Paul.
to see you again. Firstly, let's talk about John Kerry's visit to Geneva. He's having talks with Stefan de Mistura. What do you think he would consider a successful outcome from those talks in Geneva?
I mean, I'd have to think in his shoes what would I've done to expand the cessation of hostilities to all over Syria. Clearly, the American policy has agreed to the Russian exception of all over Syria except a cessation of hostilities in Latakia and eastern Damascus. And that's very horrifying to the Syrian people. And that really leaves the revolutionary forces no choice but to end this alleged cessation of hostilities. That never really took place in terms of compliance by the regime forces.
So why is it these two areas in particular that are the center of everything right now?
There is a plan, a Russian, Iranian/Assad plan that wants to consolidate the power over major cities in Syria. And so after they already took over most of northern Latakia, there was no more strategic locations for them to care about. And so that's why they enacted the cessation of hostilities on Latakia, because there's no more an interest in that area. On the eastern Damascus area, it's a besieged area. It's encircled by regime forces, so they'll leave it for the next phase. But in terms of the regime's plan today in Aleppo is to consolidate Aleppo and take it back to the regime's forces. And that's unfortunately done by over 209 barrel bombs, phosphoric bombs, cluster bombs, rockets, and so forth. That has taken over 200 lives, 6 medical facilities, and many schools and public shops and grocery shops.
You said that you think Washington and America, and I suppose by default the coalition as well, has bowed down to what Assad and Russia and Iran wants. Why do you think Washington has done that?
I think Washington at this point is very disinterested in the region, and they're trying to minimize losses and maintain a status quo until the next president. Unfortunately, the foreign policy has been crippled for a long time now in doing any action, any pro-action, any forcing, any pushing of the Russians to at least allow a cessation of hostilities. They haven't done enough in pressuring the Russians. They haven't done in pressuring the Russians to end the Assad regime. In fact, the Americans have said that we cannot guarantee that Assad will not run in the next election.
So does it look like the future of Aleppo is going to be decided militarily then, do you think?
It seems. I mean,
victory for
everyone
the
says
regime.
we need a political solution, but the Russians and the Iranians and the Assad have taken a military route to wipe out the city of Aleppo.
So where does all this leave the peace talks then in Geneva? I mean, are they as good as dead and buried, or does the future of Aleppo have to be decided before they can restart with any meaningful purpose?
The High Commission of Negotiations have suspended their participation until a serious action is done by the international community, who have called for those negotiations. And so we are still committed as an opposition to the political track, given at least the minimum requirements for such, or prerequisites for the success of the political track.
Okay, Ammar, thank you for coming in and thank you for your insight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.